perfect. That's absolutely
The
terrific.
revered baseball magazine, Baseball America, recently celebrated its 20th anniversary. And in its 20th anniversary issue, they recognized those folks who had achieved the most during the past 20 years. For example, the Major League player identified was Cal Ripken, the Major League organization, the Atlanta Braves, the Major League executive, Pat Gillick, the minor league franchise, the Columbus Clippers, and the individual identified as the scout for the 20th anniversary, the one who received the Award of Excellence, was Paul Snyder. Baseball America feature on scout Paul Snyder indicated that Paul Snyder never blew his own horn, and it took many years before anyone else blew it for him. Paul Snyder, who signed with the then Milwaukee Braves as a player in 1957, stayed with the organization until his retirement in 1999, and is best known as a scout. But during that period of time, he served in a variety of capacities, largely because they never seemed to know what to do with him. After bad back curtailed his playing career, he served as a player manager, then a manager. He held a job as coach, he was a scout, and he was also the director of stadium operations. He's had a hand in the acquisition of nearly every Brave star from Dale Murphy to Chipper Jones. We had a chance to catch up with Paul Snyder at the stadium in 1999 while he was watching batting practice. Here's our interview of a person who's been recognized by Baseball America as the top scout in Major League Baseball, Paul Snyder.
Down through, Nick. I'm from right outside of York, Pennsylvania, and had a chance to sign the Dodgers out of high school. My mother and father, each of them only had a 6th grade education, wanted me to have something they didn't have. Had a chance to go to Penn State on a baseball scholarship, had a chance to go to Lebanon Valley as all my mother's church affiliation. It was a brethren school. And I went over there on a football scholarship and hurt my back the first year. Didn't take care of my studies like I should have. And would have had to go to summer school that summer, and I opted not to go. And came home, worked with my father in the plumbing heating business, played ball in the York County Twilight League, which was made up at that time of a lot of ex-professional players because York and Lancaster and Harrisburg were in the old Interstate League, and then went to the Piedmont League. And a lot of those guys married gals and stayed there, and they were making 50, 60, 70, some of the better pitchers, $100 a game. And I was playing against those guys when I was 15 years old. And I truly believe if I had got into my second year before I saw pitching as good as I had seen back home.
That's interesting.
Anyway, I went to, boy, I don't know, I might have gone to maybe 20 track camps. And finally then I got signed by the Braves, and that was the beginning of it. And
What year was that?
John Ogden was the scout that signed me. Sterling Arnold would be the bird dog that talked me into it. I had a chance to go with Washington and for $2,000, and the Braves were going to give me $500, but if I had a good year, they'd give me $2,500. And Sterling said, "The stuff you've seen here," he said, "you're going to go have a good year." He said, "You're going to be money ahead." So I took his. I went out and I hit 351, and I got the $2,500. Had 106 RBIs, and I got the $2,500.
So this is your first year, and what year was that?
That was my first full playing year was 58.
58.
Yeah.
And where was that again?
I was in Midland, Texas.
Midland.
And that has helped me tremendously now when we're going through ball clubs that play in Midland. I don't put a lot of stock in their batting average. I know how easy it is to hit there. So it's helped me from that respect. And and I got off on a winning note, and of course at that time, my 58, the Braves again played in the World Series and had the Yankees down 3-1. The rest is history. They came back and beat us as well, you know. So,
Yep.
and 59, we had the tie with the Dodgers, and they beat us in the playoff, and then that was when the dry spell started, because one long after that, Mr. Perini sold the Braves, and there wasn't money being put back into the product like he did.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through that for a long time until we got Mr. Turner comes on. And
As far as your minor league career is concerned, 58 you're in Midland, and then where do you go from there?
59, I go to Cedar Rapids in the 3I League, which was a B league at that time, as well, you know. And at that time, the major league clubs broke with 28 players. In 30 days, one of them had to come down. Well, the 30th day came, and I knew somebody was coming. But I'm hitting 362, and I'm tied for the club lead in home runs, and I'm tied for the club lead for RBIs. I know it's not me. Well, we're sitting on the bus getting ready to go to Lincoln, and Dave Kersley comes out, and is now our major league trainer, and says, "Mr. Monchek wants to see you." Well, I didn't think nothing about it. Well, went along, I'm jerking my bags off that bus. It was me. So, and then from there, then I go on to Eau Claire in the Little League, which was a C League, and end up at 330 something there, and had hurt my back up there, and had to have a spinal fusion in 1960. And that was then the latter part of that summer, my first indoctrination into the New York Penn League, as I would had come back out of rehab, and my parents now had moved up right south of Belmont, Pennsylvania.
Sure.
And not far from the New York state line, and now they sent me up to Wellsville to work with Harry Miner and work out with him, and then he got me in a handful of games before the year was over, and I don't know what it was. I think I hit about maybe 240 or something like that after I didn't just getting started again. And then went on my next year, and now I'm back in the 3I League again, where I was 2 years ago, where I thought I shouldn't have left, but that was a setback that happened. And but it was during that spinal fusion that I was asked the question did I want to stay in baseball when my playing career was over. And of course, I wanted to. I loved the game. I still love the game. And John Mullen asked me that question, and I didn't know when it was going to happen. But so I played in the 3I League that year, and I think hit about 310, made the All-Star team, and then the next year I went to Austin, Texas, in the Texas AA League there, and hit I think 312, and then I got 113 RBIs and 18, 19 home runs, and well, I thought we still got a chance, even though I was fighting age at this time. I couldn't afford to miss that summer that I missed. But, went to Denver the following year and had an off day, and out at the ballpark hitting on the off day, and my back acted up again. And at that point then, Mr. Mullen, we left, and we had gone into the Dallas-Fort Worth. We played one night in Dallas, we played the next night in Fort Worth. One night in Dallas, one night in Fort Worth. And we were getting off the bus coming back from over in Fort Worth, and we were staying in Dallas. Jack Ty was our manager.
Yep. And
Jack said, "Mr. Mullen, ready for you to start your managing career." Well, I got my shit hot a little bit. I didn't think I was ready for this yet. And he said, "I tell you what," he said, "you go take a shower, I'll take a shower." I said, "I'll see you here in 30 minutes, we'll get a bite to eat." And I have thanked Jack Ty many, many times for being as honest with me and as upright as he was. And I really, really appreciated that so many times, and it taught me a valuable lesson dealing with these young people here. They know I won't lie to them.
Yeah.
I'll be as honest as I can possibly be, and he was honest with me. Could I run? No. Could I play good defense? No. Did I have a strong arm? No. Did I hit? Yeah, I was a line drive hitter. Home runs I hit were line drives that carried out of the ball. You know, we had one tool. We didn't have the DH. And I said, when we left, we shook hands at the hotel door, and I told him, I said, have the trainer call me and set up my ticket back to Denver. I need a day in Denver. I need 3 days to drive my wife, who was pregnant, to Greenville. And I got there, and Jim Fanning, who's another guy with a history in the New York Penn League, was the manager, and I took over his ball club at that time. And I got to the ballpark at night, and I didn't know how this was all going to work, but he said, "Who are you pitching tonight, Skip?" And I found out how it was going to work. So, and I was a playing manager that year there, and we were 3.5 games out when I got there, and the guys busted their butt for me and played like hell, and we ended up winning the first half. And John Mullen at that end of it, he moved a couple guys. I think 2 guys came up to Yakima, and he moved about 3 or 4 more guys into Boise to bolster them, because they've been long-time Brainy friends and so forth out there, the ownership of those folks. And we didn't do too well the second half. And so now I get a shortstop and a second baseman for the playoffs, and we end up winning the playoffs. Now I've got a new baby boy that was born. I got a wife of less than a year old, and I'm going home, my first year managing, with a a little trophy. The car was just about wasn't big enough for my head, let alone everybody else that was in it. But I was a proud peacock going up that road with a pennant and a new grandbaby, and just boy, I was a happy sucker. And one of the guys was from right here in Jamestown, Johnny O'Neill.
Yep.
Called him Balls O'Neill. And,
Why'd you call him balls on you?
because in spring training, he would not let a ball lay on that field. He's going to walk them fences. Every night, see all the balls were in it. We didn't lose any baseball.
I'll be darned.
And he'd check the side of the fence, and that side of the fence, he'd walk all the fields every night, seeing if all the equipment in, all the balls were in. I just called him Balls O'Neill. It just kind of stuck. And I asked a number of people here, and the last time I heard, John was living down in Florida, in Okeechobee. Now I don't know if they're still there.
He's still he's in Jamestown.
He's back here now.
Yep, he's here in the summer. And in fact, he's here. He's home now.
Then I got a call.
Yeah.
I got a call.
It's in the book.
He lived at 17 Cross Street years ago. I'll never forget the address.
Yeah.
But I don't know where he's living now.
It's in West Ellicott, just outside the city. And I'll get you the phone
I was
number.
over there.
Yeah.
Well, I was over there today to eat at was it Davidson's restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. Right, he lives right nearby there. And John's doing fine.
Yeah. How old is John now?
Oh, he's got to be.
I was telling about him. He said, well, how would he be now, Paul? And I just think, I said, when I'm 64, John may be 77, 78.
Yeah, I was going to say mid to late 70s.
Okay.
Tonight, in fact.
Wife's name is.
Oh, gee.
Boy, that's just, and I knew it. They were a nice couple, fun couple.
Yep. Braves had a farm club in Binghamton in the Pony League. And in 1964, Paul Snyder was a co-manager with former Braves baseball player Andy Pafko. Let's hear his recollections of that time period in the Pony League in Jamestown.
Your league here has upgraded itself from being here in 1960 and also being as a manager in 1964. I think just in the quality of the ballparks are far superior. The lights have been far superior to the three parks that I've seen lately. Far superior to what we used to see in this league here. And I think the league, when it was a full season league, it was a great league, and it was been proven years ago. And I think you look back and probably look back and just see how many players that have played in the big leagues that have come through this league. I think it would knock your socks off. I think it would knock your socks off, because what this league does is guys can stay stronger longer. And they don't start doing things artificially. They don't start doing things that aren't natural to them. They can keep their strength longer, and their swing stays more consistent. Pitchers don't run out of gas as quick because of the tremendous heat and humidity. They're able to stay within their delivery that much longer and throw more pitches in their normal slot, rather than having their deliveries all go to hell in a handbasket. I think we've gotten away from the manager, bus driver situation. I know Harry Minor League, I didn't have to do it, and Binghamton was a much bigger city than what Wellsville, New York was, and I didn't have to drive the bus when I was managing. But Harry had to drive that friggin' bus every night. And,
A lot of stories here.
Yeah. And a lot of guys. And I think back, I picked up probably more things from him when I started managing. I thought he had some of the greatest rapport with the younger players. That he wanted 15 minutes of fun when the game was over. Win or lose. And that was the beautiful part about it. Not just if you lost. Win or lose. And then let's forget about it. That's gone.
Tell me about 1964. How did you become a manager?
Okay, well, I had managed the year before. I had managed the year before down in Greenville, South Carolina, and of course, you're just hoping that you get a contract, and money. I told my wife, I said, well, ended up they paid us at the rate of $3,700 last year. We're probably going to get a nice raise this year. Well, they paid me at the rate of $4,000 for the next year. But and that was it. And now I'm going to have Andy Pafko as a coach, and I'm really looking forward to this, because here's a guy with a great playing career, and had 3 years as a major league coach, and now we're going up, and so now John Mullen we got this idea about going down to Florida, and we had been together now for a month, and he saw what we were doing and everything else, and so now Mr. Malcolm knew this idea that I was going to be leaving in another month to go down to Florida. They're going to start the golf course league. This is going to be the start of complex baseball. something that Mr. Rickey thought that would happen and just dreaded the days of it, that it was going to take place. And so now he said, well, why don't you just keep going till I see all the things that you got to do here. Well, it's just been through it for a month. And what more? I can't do any more than this. But I think two of the most comical things that I've ever seen on a baseball field, and I mentioned briefly to you the other night, was at an outfielder by the name of John May from, I think, the University of Oregon. And he played for me the year before in Greenville, so nothing he'd done was going to surprise me. I'd been through that. But, John threw the ball around in the outfield, and I didn't know it at the time, but he had done this the whole year before when he played with me, just hoping this opportunity would ever arise itself. Well, he kept his ball in his back pocket, and sure as the guy hits the ball out of the ballpark, and he runs back to the fence, and he jumps up and comes down and rolls around. He's got the ball in his glove, and the umpire calls him out. And nothing was ever made of this thing till this went like 2 days before that, and now the goose comes out. It was too good to keep. And then I forget just what they did find him, but Mr. McNamara did find him for this, and now it's about 2 weeks later have gone by, base loaded, he's hitting, and he hits one of those line drive one hoppers right at the first baseman. He never moves out of the batter's box. He stays right there. When the first baseman throws the ball, and he catches it barehanded, standing in the batter's box. But I thought I'd never seen those two things before. Those were my two tidbits in the remembrance of managing in the New York Fenway.
That's incredible. What about James? Do you have any recollections of?
I have my first recollection. I don't have any really that much about managing, but I remember coming in here, as I mentioned the other evening, coming in here in '67. Jim Fanning and I had attended the Britton funeral where Jim Britton, who had played for me in Greenville in '63. He had signed with Baltimore. It was in that era where those first-year players were eligible to be drafted, and we drafted him. And Jimmy had played for me, and his father, who had passed away, and I just forget right whether it was either in the Rochester or the Syracuse ballpark, and they lived in Tonawanda, New York, is where they were from. And Jim had called me, the fact that I knew the family, to please come over and go with him to the service, and we did that. And then we came here that evening for the ball game, and Harry Dorsch was managing here for us. I think, I'm trying to think of a young outfielder from California was on that ball club.
Maybe this might help.
I might.
What's Jim Fanning mean to you?
Jim Fanning means to me is maybe like a big brother. Kind of a big brother to me. Jim was always one of the guys that he started. I think Jimmy came over to us about 1960, and he was a manager and around there as a roving guy, an assistant, and was just somebody that was always easy to talk to, someone you could take a problem to and get it solved, not pass it on to the next guy.
Yeah.
We had two guys like that in the organization. Roland Heeman was the other one. Roland Heeman at the time, back when I signed each up in Waycross, Georgia, with 375 players. He's calling everybody by their first name. I've tried to learn that. It meant a lot.
Paths cross.
Oh, she had John McHale's wife, Patty, taught me a valuable lesson. Yeah, I managed in West Palm Beach in 1965. And had a pitcher by the name of Bobby Williams out of Minneapolis. And lo and behold, one night, and I hadn't counted the pitcher. I knew the one pitcher. He went 9 innings. And Patty sat right there by the dugout. She said, Paul, she said, I think he only had like 97 pitches. I looked and I got inside of 96. So it taught me something. Hey, you better pay attention to somebody else is here.
Sure.
And that was, yeah, Mr. McHale was always fine. He's the guy that gave me the odd job in 1966. I had stopped off. They had moved the air offices out of Atlanta. Milwaukee had moved to Atlanta. So I'm stopping off, leaving my game reports and my rundown of my ball club, and I'm going over this with Mr. Mullen and Mr. Ray Hayworth and Mr. Dick Cecil. And John said that night we go out to Mr. Mullen's house, and Eddie Haas had been in to give his report on the club he had the previous year, and he said, by the way, we're out of his place, and we're playing basketball. We're drizzling on it. It's about midnight. We've had about all the beer we could stand to drink and still stand up. He got his son Chris out of bed, and was about 6'4" or something, going to Marist High School. And we're out there playing basketball in the drizzling rain. And he said, by the way, Mr. McHale wants to see you in the morning at 9 o'clock. I said, what does he want, John? He said, I don't know what he wants. Well, the Clark did. He just didn't want to tell me. And so when in the next morning see Mr. McHale, he wanted me to be director of stadium operations in '66 at Braves first year in Atlanta. Now you're talking about somebody that knew nothing about what they were doing. That was Paul.
After one disastrous year as director of stadium operations, Paul Snyder ascertained there was an opening in the scouting bureau of the Braves. He became a scout, though he was sidetracked from 1972 to 1976 when he served as a manager of the Class A Greenwood and then assistant farm director. He became scouting director in 1977, and he stayed in that job evaluating talent and bringing in the finest of the players which the Braves have been the beneficiary of for many, many years to come. Paul Snyder rightfully belongs in the high air category as the top scout as determined by Baseball America in this past 20 years. Thanks for the memories, Paul.
Let me hear you. On one, on two, on three. Take me out to the ball. Peanuts and Cracker Jack.
I'm Kristen Stein, Director of the Fenton History Center in Jamestown, New York. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation, which is just one of many stories from our community's rich history. The Fenton History Center preserves our shared history through the presentation of educational programs and exhibits, the maintenance of a collection of local artifacts and archival materials, and a library specializing in local history and genealogy, all for the benefit and use of the public. For more information about the Fenton History Center and its activities, call 664-6256.